I haven't been in a constant state of sadness or depression for a long period of time. Yes, I will have my moments, but it doesn't continue for months on end. Something I wanted to talk about is the normalization of the comfort of depression and the comfort of sadness. The problem with relatable content and social media is that when it brings attention to these emotions, it's very easy to fall into it and let it marinate. Being able to just listen to it and it just makes you automatically feel better. And it isn't the same idea as self improvement, where you feel like you are progressing by watching the content. The thing is, with these videos or these slideshows that you might see on TikTok or Instagram, is that it is extremely relatable. It somehow always manages to get it right. Now, what happens when you see someone experiencing something very similar to you, you tend to find comfort in it and you keep repeating the cycle. You feel like you are with them. You feel like you are going through the same things they are going through, and it's all okay. Since it's happening to someone else, it's not the end of the world for me. I can still continue being sad and now want to progress out of it. In reality, you are just feeding the addiction. It's the same as alcoholics. They go back into it since they feel comfortable, and there's an abundant amount of alcoholics out there anyways, so why not continue? I've had a friend who had this issue of the constant state of depression. She's a close friend of mine, and over the years, she would have these long episodes where no matter what would happen, she would always fall back into it. And obviously, for myself, I wanted to find a solution for her. I wanted to see how I can help her fall out of it and keep her away from the things that come with depression. And one of the biggest problems she would bring up is that the idea of feeling depressed became her identity. And every time she would try to leave it, it would never work. She felt like she was losing a part of herself when she stopped being depressed. Hearing this, I was confused. Hearing this, even if you were to hear it too, the logic doesn't make sense. Why would someone want to keep hurting themselves and indulging themselves in bad thoughts for continuous long periods of time? And in my head, I was like, realistically, if you're sad, you will want to have the urge to feel happy again. That's how I always thought about it. You know, I want to be away from those thoughts until I started actually seeing it in people online, seeing it everywhere online actually, and loads of people would have the same issue. I kept on coming back to the idea of the fear of progression, the fear of actually making it out of those problems. Maybe these people are perhaps scared of moving away from something that was so consistent in their lives. They're just too accustomed to it. But also in my head, the idea of depression and the idea of sadness consistently stays if you don't have something going on in your life. And as corny as it sounds, the light will only come if you keep yourself away from the darkness. I would say it is the truth. I feel like this problem isn't an addiction where you can just turn off your phone and just fix it either, because if it's consistently happening throughout your life, it will happen without the initial source. But I do feel like this is a very important topic, especially with our generation, as we're known to struggle a lot with the idea of depression and the idea of thoughts consistently, you know, berating our heads. But I would say it is very hard to find a clear cut solution for this because we are in the middle of it right now. And until this era goes away, it is going to be very hard to find a clear cut way to fix these kinds of problems. But yeah, that's all I really got. See you guys later.